Weigh in. She's a spokesperson for the nonprofit group American Border Story, Alexis Wilkins. And I needed some legal advice on this one, so we've got our resident attorney and our newest talk show host, David Pollack from the David Pollack Primetime show, which debuts next week right here on OAN. No offense, David, even though you're my colleague, my mom always taught me it's ladies first.
Of course.
Is that good? Everybody good with that?
I demand it.
All right, I demand it. Alexis, thanks for coming back on. Your feeling going into this tomorrow, again, there'll probably be a couple days of hearings. Both sides will present, and then it's March, April, so we won't hear until summer. But I know your group has been working hard to get information out there about the 14th Amendment and how it's been misused for decades.
You're exactly right, Dan. You know, the 14th Amendment has been misinterpreted by, this birthright citizenship. If you look at the other countries that have this, while it does exist on the West, it's all really countries that have kind of lost their way. It's not really, the rest of the world is by blood. And so here at American Border Story, we believe that, we can see the toll that illegal immigration has taken on this country. We know that there is an incentivized business behind illegal immigration and behind birth tourism. People coming here to have their children as anchor babies. It's really damaging our country. And this is something that the Trump administration put a priority on day one. And I think it's a real shame that the courts have driven it this far up the flagpole to make it that much harder for the Trump administration to implement their agenda.
Yeah, we'll see what they think. Let's go to the legal mind. All right, Mr. Pollack, what do you think legality-wise? What do we face here? And also take into account the justices, because we know which ones lean which way of following the Constitution and which ones like to follow, let's call it, woke trends. David?
Well, yeah, you just subtract the liberal justices and just push those aside. The real battle is amongst the conservative justices who actually do their job and weigh the law from a constitutional perspective. And that is the big question here, whether under the 14th Amendment, the illegal aliens' children are subject to the jurisdiction, or at least their parents are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Now, Trump's executive order says if you're here illegally or if you're temporarily lawfully present and you have a child, that child can stay in the United States as a citizen. We don't like that, obviously, because that's encouraging people to come across the border, deliver a baby.
Right.
And then we have all these people to take care of, including the illegal alien fathers, if they stick around. So we don't want to create an incentive for people to come into the United States. But I mean, that's what Alexis is talking about, the humanitarian factor. You want my legal opinion on this? I think it just depends if the Supreme Court wants to break from 100 or so plus years of traditional interpretation. And initially, there's some people argue that the 14th Amendment is specifically this, subject to the jurisdiction, was intended for the children of slaves. Because they're subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. It was never intended to become the basis for which anybody to come into this country and have a baby and become a citizen, which has been abused. So I think it's a great time to have this out. I think importantly, if the Supreme Court didn't strike down the national injunctions from lower courts, we wouldn't even be able to get to this question. So I think it's an important question. We'll see where the court sides. I don't know, man. My instinct is I think Trump has a pretty good argument on this one. So we'll see what happens.
5-4. That's what I'm going to call.
You call
I don't think we'll get 6-3. Yeah, because I always hear about Justice Roberts, and I'm looking this up, and Alexis, this one is to you. Why do you think no administration ever before, conservative-wise, I wouldn't expect the libs to do this, ever tried to tackle this issue? Because I'm reading here, and on July 9th, 1968 is when we ratified the 14th, right? This was all about Reconstruction. This was involving the Southern folks who split away and we had a war over. This was to bring the slaves' kids in. This was about Reconstruction. This was nothing about, all the illegal immigrants that just pop in from wherever and pop out kids. Yep, you're an American. That's not what the 14th was about, Alexis.
Correct. The context is really important here because the original constitutional purpose was, you're exactly right, for Reconstruction, to put our country back together and allow people who deserved it a pathway to citizenship for themselves and their children. This is not something that should be that controversial. I tend to believe that this is an issue where over the years, politics are politicking. And you have a countdown on a clock of how long you're in office, ultimately, of how long you have until midterms. And I think that, the Trump administration, thank goodness, is more unafraid. They were voted in an overwhelming majority to enact this exact agenda, and that's what they're doing. So I think they have the boldness and the confidence to do this. I think maybe administrations of the past were worried about midterms coming up or the next
Right.
election coming up or a power turnover. The race wars and these, bigot examples that the left starts throwing at you, they can be very scary to true politics. But the Trump administration has always acted outside of those parameters just for the good of the people. So I think that hopefully is what we see here.
Yeah, they worried about their own re-election butts than actually doing what was right. Few seconds left.
Fundraising.
David, you know how this TV thing works. I started with Alexis. You get the final word, sir.
Listen, I'm just going to say, let's see what's going to happen. No matter what, the Democrats will say it's racist if it comes out on our side. That would be a good way to expect. And there'll probably be protests about it, too. I'm sure the signs are already pre-printed.
Soros has paid for them. They got the
It's
U-Hauls
already
rented.
done. They're sitting in boxes.
Yes. Alexis Wilkins with the American Border Story, attorney, and I got to say it again, host of the brand new David Pollack Primetime, which will premiere next Monday at 7 p.m. right before this show on Monday, April 6th. So let's welcome David to the OAN lineup. Alexis, thank you. David, God bless you guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yep.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.